How are you guys doing? Welcome back to another Launchpad school here today on this fine Tuesday afternoon. So as you guys can probably tell, we have zero call-in today. That means that the teacher is gone. So students can dance on the tables, do whatever they want. Nah, just kidding. I'm going to take over today. We're going to pick a somewhat more light-hearted topic today. So we're going to not talk about tokenomics, formulas, metrics. We're going to talk about something that I think is very important, something that maybe isn't as difficult to grasp, but something that is nevertheless needed for you to get into Launchpads. Now, what is it? How to make money in the bear market using Launchpads, how to find out what Launchpads are behaving well, where you should get into and what you shouldn't get into. Now, I prepared a 5-topic list that I have done my thorough research for, right? Asking around in the community, talking with people that have lots of experience in Launchpads, following the Launchpad school lessons, and of course, many, many, many reviews that I've done about Launchpad. So I am by no means an expert, nor am I a financial advisor, but these are the 5 metrics that I think are the best to determine whether a Launchpad is worthwhile. And finding a Launchpad that is worthwhile right now is the best way to make money in the bear market with Launchpads. So we're going to get started with that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share with you guys before I do the 5 metrics that I personally use. Obviously, everybody live in the chat can go ahead and type in what they think I might be missing or some metrics that they use to determine whether a Launchpad is worth it or not. So before we jump into actually using these metrics and comparing Launchpads, let's get to what these actually are. The first two are quality and quantity. Now, quality and quantity, those basically mean how many projects does a Launchpad provide on a monthly basis or a 2-monthly basis, depending on how you would like to count it. If a Launchpad is not consistently providing projects, then either the Launchpad is dead or there's something wrong and they're not able to produce these projects, they're not able to launch them, they're not able to fill them up or whatever. It's bad. So you need that constant flow of projects coming into a Launchpad for you to participate in, for your tokens to be worthwhile. So that is the first metric, okay? Quantity. Secondly, we need quality, okay? So especially during a bear market, this one is very important. Looking at all of these Launchpads that we have reviewed with each other, what have we seen? We've seen that many Launchpads launch projects that immediately flow up after TGE, right? We don't see potential anymore. And that's normal during a bear market, right? But it doesn't have to be. There are projects out there that are performing well during this bear market. There are opportunities out there, and you just need to find the right Launchpad that is grabbing these crypto gems and launching them. And if you're stuck with a wrong Launchpad that is launching rug pools, tier 3 projects, etc., that's not where you're going to find these returns during the bear market, right? So quality and quantity are easily the 2 most important things I use when I decide, hey, do I want to get into this Launchpad or not? Hey, do I want to make a review on this Launchpad or not, right? Now, the other points are equally as important, but they're a little bit different, and they're usually a bit harder to grasp for people new into the crypto space. The first one is the quantity of the quality of the white paper. Yeah, I noted them down. That's right, because I forget, right? The quality of the white paper. Now, hear me out on this one, right? Because white papers, we've done a whole lesson on it, and it's actually much more difficult than you might think on first glance, right? Dissecting a white paper takes a lot of time and effort, and it definitely took me several lessons to truly look at a white paper and understand the meaning of what the company is trying to portray, and piercing through one of those white papers and really seeing, hey, what does it say? Is it actually what they mean it to be? What is the meaning behind what they put on this sheet of paper? And it's so important once you're able to pierce through it. And if you guys looked at these lessons that we've had over the past couple of weeks, Colin dissecting very precisely, right, reading the white paper and understanding what is the company actually saying, that has made him these big trades. So finding that is absolutely one of the most important ones in this list. So if the white paper is bad, it's not just one red flag. It's not just two red flags. It's 5 red flags. Run away, right? So having that good white paper, very important. Now, that's the third metric. The fourth one is the team, right? Hear me out. You're not investing in a project. You're investing in a team. Again, we looked at Magicraft earlier today, right? And the first thing the Discord was saying was, hey, look, man, team's just going to dump their tokens as soon as the price hits a high point. It's exactly what happened, right? So if you invest in a project, you need to know who the team is, right? You're not going to invest in KingPad Launchpad because you know the guy behind it did MemePad as well, and he just effed it up. It's a one-man show. It's not something interesting to a serious investor, right? So that's the fourth one. Now, the last one is the community. Now, I don't have to explain that. You move over to their Twitter. Do they hate the owners of the project, right? Are they screaming? Are they revolting with pitchfork in their hands? Well, probably not a good sign. So those are the 5 metrics that we should be using to detect whether a Launchpad is worthwhile or not. Now, if you should invest in the first place at all in Launchpads during a bear run, well, that is something we should talk about later in this video. But for now, we're going to look at some Launchpads, and we're going to use these metrics in action to try and basically replicate a review of a Launchpad, one that I've done many times, of course, one that you guys have done many times, but one that we have to keep training, because now we have these Launchpads, but in half a year from now, there's going to be new ones, and we need to use these strategies to find out, hey, is my money safe in there? Should I be investing in that or not? And if we don't keep up with the times, if we don't keep evolving, how do we look at projects? How do we review Launchpads? Then we're going to fall behind and we're going to make mistakes. So that's what we're going to do right now. Everybody who's new in the chat, you guys, there's no Colin. There's no Colin, it's me. The teacher is gone. So we're doing a full-on review on how to find good Launchpads. How do we review them? And we're basically using all of the 10 lessons we had before, putting them in action. So we're going to get started with that right away. So let's get this screen sharing going. Enough looking at me, right? That's about to get quite boring after a while, right? So let's get into this. I put a couple of Launchpads over here, and we're going to use the 5 metrics we talked about, and we're going to use them in action, starting with Polka Bridge. Now, all of these Launchpads, I've already reviewed them, so I have a little bit of an edge here, right? And probably you guys know them as well. They're bigger Launchpads, which is why I picked them. You can pick a tier 3 Launchpad, but it's pretty obvious that it's not going to be a wise investment decision, right? You can go to Hoppy or MemePad, but I don't have to tell you guys that that's not a wise investment opportunity. So let's get started. So here, for instance, we have Polka Bridge. Now, Polka Bridge has been getting so much attention lately. People have been talking about it a lot, and it's definitely considered one of the better Launchpads on the Polka chain. I've done a review on it as well, as I said. Now, first thing I always do looking at a Launchpad is the tiers, but I'm not going to do that right now because, quite irrelevant for this particular example. What is more relevant, however, are the pools, right? The upcoming pools and the closed pools, quantity and quality, like we discussed in the beginning of this video. So we're seeing here one upcoming pool, and the thing is, what I see a lot, right, is what they do. They say an upcoming pool, but then they don't have a date. Does that really mean you have an upcoming project? For instance, Seedify has multiple projects on to be announced, but they've been there for months, right? It's in the pipeline. They're gonna do it eventually, but it could easily take half a year or 6 months or 7 months before a project like that actually gets its TGE done. So do they have an upcoming pool? Kind of, right? So the quantity is not looking so hot, for instance, over on Polka Bridge. Now, again, we're looking at a bear market, right? So we should tone everything down a notch and understand that they're not going to have 5 in the pipeline coming up this week. Yeah, sure. But this is not looking fantastic. Now, Polka Bridge has a bit of a pass, and that's also something you have to take into consideration. Look at this. Stake, farm, they have INO, swapping, lending. There's more to Polka Bridge, right? Holding this token, it will give you more than just an allocation to these Launchpad. There's utility to the token. So they can handle this type of stuff, right? They can handle not posting or launching dozens of projects every single week. So it's okay ish that the quantity is lower, but the quality, there's never an excuse for lower quality. And the best way to see how the IDOs performed is literally just to go to CryptoRank. For instance, here we have Chirply. We kind of followed this pretty neatly, the Chirply launch and just everything leading up to the launch. Let me just make sure that it is actually Chirply. Yeah, Chirply, there we go. Bit of a different logo over there. Look at that. Okay. I was expecting this logo, but okay, sure, Chirply, right? So the token sale has been done, right? We don't have a TGE yet, so we can't really view how the project performed. But we do know that on 5th of September, the Chirply token has been sold over on PokerBridge. Now, they've been sold on a lot of platforms. Uplift, Gagarin, Engine Starter, Phantom Starter, Moon Starter, Synapse, Crystal Go, Infinity Pad, DAO Launch. It keeps on going, right? So this was a big project. And overall, I have always been quite bullish on Chirply. I felt like it was a good project with a lot of potential. Again, we're not going to be able to review this one in particular, but this was very recent. So that also goes back, right? It ties back into the quantity metric that we talked about earlier. Me Music might be a project very long into the distance, but they've just finished one project. So the quantity over on PokerBridge, considering the bear market, is actually quite healthy. And this is also the lens you should be looking at it with, right? 1, 2, maybe 3 projects a month is actually really good for most Launchpads, right? So PokerBridge is actually passing the test on quantity here, in my opinion. Now, as for quality, let's look at some much older projects. So we actually do have a TGE, for instance, Serious Finance. We can go ahead, type it in here, Serious Finance. Let's see if we actually have any metrics on this. Yeah, token sale, there we go. And there we go. So here, right, CryptoRank, of course, at the moment, the best website to use for this. Eventually, we're going to have track digits. We're going to be able to do it over there. For now, CryptoRank is always what you should use, right? And here, it's an easy way to just check how it unfolded, right? The all-time high at the 0.7x. That means that the actual all-time high this project ever reached was a loss for investors, right? And the current ROI, look at that, 0.12x. So a horrible project overall. And it was only launched on smaller launchpads, right? Selenium is decently sized, PokerBridge as well. DAO Launch, very small launchpad. The raises are also incredibly small with only 45K. I've never seen a raise lower than 50K. So this is astounding. And here, 35K only on DAO Launch. Selenium doing the biggest pool here, 200K. Now vesting is released. 20% TGE, but it's irrelevant mostly because even if you sell the 20% of TGE, it will still be at a loss. So yeah, I mean, there's that. Oh, hello guys. There you go. Put that down. So it's irrelevant mostly, right? Because you're selling your tokens at a loss regardless. So bad project, right? Bad project. Now let's look at a couple more, right? You cannot look at 1 or 2 projects and make a judgment. That would be short-sighted. I've done it before, actually. I mean, I've had, when I was interested in Launchpads, like checked 1 or 2 projects, they were bad, and I moved on. And then afterwards, I heard like, hey, man, this made some great profits there, and I just had to look a bit more. However, on PokerBridge, of course, I've already seen these projects, right? So I kind of know the answers to many of these. I mean, let's just look at a couple more, right? Let's pretend like we have absolutely no idea. Actually, I want to see Outlanders, really. The private sale, mostly Outlanders. There we go. Yep. Oh, this also didn't have a TG yet. Oh man, but this was at the 26th of May. Why do we not have a TG yet? That's awkward. Okay. Fine, sure. Move forward. Let's see, Kite. I believe Kite also didn't have a TG yet, or did it? Oh, it did. Oh man, look at that. That doesn't look very good. No, there we go. So the all-time high was okay-ish, 1.40x. 1.78 in the private and 2.08 on the pre-sale, nearly 3x, 2.5 on the seed. Bigger raises, that's for sure. But again, right, the ROI 0.17. So even if we look at the vesting schedule at PokerBridge, 40% TGE, which is quite a large unlock. But again, 1.39x, it's not that high, and all of the rest is just being sold at 0.17. So the quality is not really there. And again, the problem with this is you're holding this token, right? You're investing into these projects, but the projects aren't making you any money. So why would you stake the Launchpad token, which is also going down in value, right? I want to check one more. They did Nomad Exiles, which I actually covered as well on this channel. So I think that's one more interesting one to quickly look at. And of course, this one was just not a very unfortunate launch, I would have to say, right? With a 2.4x at the all-time high, but then a 0.08 average. I mean, guys, come on, you cannot make this stuff up. 10% of TGE, that is a 90% of the tokens being sold at roughly minus 90%, guys. So big raise, kind of respectively, 100K here, right? So we're definitely looking at these painful launches overall on average. So although the quantity might be good, quality is somewhat lacking. Now, there is an argument to be made that even if you don't have one metric, one of the 5 metrics, you can still invest, right? In my personal opinion, quality is one of the most important ones. But I've seen the tactic being used that you get into a launchpad that is not launching anything good right now, with the thought that you will be able to get it now for cheap and be able to use your allocation that you got for cheap right now in the future when the projects are taking off, right? So that is one way to look at this. And that is why you should never immediately scrap off a project just because the quality isn't there right now. It's a bear market. Launching a successful project, good luck, right? We've seen it again with Magicraft, right? They didn't just launch, but they had this big hype, and with this new big listing in a bull run, that would have been 2x at least, right? Long term, and it would have gone 2x, way higher than that. Like, it would have had a massive impact. Right now, things are just slow. So I'm not going to give it the cross for quality. I am going to give it the cross for quantity. Now, as for the community, the best way to check that metric, in my personal opinion, would be to move over to their Twitter. Usually it's posted somewhere below. Yes, there you go. I just have my little Zoom thing up here. Yeah, there you go. So the best way to check that, over on their Twitter, you'll be able to see roughly how many people are interested in the project. Of course, another good metric you can use there is the coin market cap information, where you will be, well, for the most part, be able to get the same information. So let's move over to Polka Bridge. And then, of course, we're going to be using the watch list function. Yeah, 130K. So that's a lot of people interested there. And of course, also a lot of followers. Keep in mind that these are botted frequently. So what you should do is look at it realistically, right? Does the Twitter have 200K followers, and do they have a couple thousand on their watch list? No, so just use your brain on that one. Should be good to go, right? So over here, we just have this, these likes, right? These retweets, likes, comments. Now, why are these important? Well, this is, as long as they're positive, an indication that the community is engaged. Now, quickly looking at these comments, I don't think they're very meaningful or anything like that, but it's not really about that though, is it? I mean, it's about people taking the time to go over to the Polka Bridge Twitter, follow it, like it, retweet it, and talk about it. And that is when you know, okay, hey, people are interested, people are liking what Polka Bridge is doing, they're engaged. And at the end of the day, crypto is really based on this hype, right? If 8 people like something, then it's But if 8,000 people like something, then the price is going to push itself up. So looking at Polka Bridge, it has a backbone, right? It's a bigger Launchpad with a positive community, a lot of people interested in the Launchpad, following them on Twitter, high engagement. So that is giving the community metric one cross. For your information, I'm crossing them off on my paper. That's literally how I do it. On my videos, I have a little list, 5 metrics. I'm ticking them off, right? And this is one of them, community. Other things you can check, medium. Discord, Telegram, very important as well. Although I feel like in the Discord and Telegram, you usually only find like the fanboys. So you're not really going to find out if there's negativity surrounding a project, because they'll just get banned by the admins or they don't join the Discord in the first place. So Discords and Zooms, I felt like I've usually got carried away by the hype a little bit, all those moderators hyping the project, and it's a bit foggy on Twitter. People are just ruthless, if a project is bad, they'll just be spitting it out in the comments. And yeah, I mean, it saved me a lot of money just going over to Twitter and just seeing people come up with actual threats, right, about just a Launchpad being sucky. Now, again, these are people's opinions, so don't take it with a grain of salt, right? Don't base your entire opinion on what other people are saying. But if enough people say, hey, sucks, then, important metric. Not the most important one, but I always keep it into account. Then the last one, right? I'm going to go over the other ones a lot quicker. Don't worry, guys. But Poker Bridge, let's see, how many do we have? We have 2 more, white paper and the token. Now, what do I mean by token? Why is the token something we look at to determine whether we should be investing in a project or not? Well, clearly, you're going to be buying this token, right? So if the token is showing all the signs that it's going to drop in price or that's not a good time to buy, then it's probably not a good time to buy. So looking at this chart, we can see this massive spike in the middle, which is a rare. Usually you have the big spike at TGE. Their TGE spike relatively small, right? Positive though, people made profits over here. After that, it remained rather stable, even flatlined for about a month, had a smaller peak, and then you see this huge peak over here. Token skyrocketing in price, going down, and basically flatlining again. Very interesting path. A path that we don't really see all that often. Zooming in at the 1 month chart, we see here a rather big increase in value, which quickly dropped again. Now, 1 year, yeah, so 1 year also had a spike. That's still this spike, I assume. $2, yeah. So this was this year, right? This was during the last bull run, of course, 2021, the end of it. So market conditions really drove the price down again over here, as we can all see. And yeah, so what do we say about a token like this? Is it a dangerous token? No. I mean, look at the 1 day chart, right? There, no weird spikes. There's always enough trading volume. Yeah, we have some ups and downs, but I've seen much crazier. So it seems to be a rather stable token, and it hasn't had a lot of movement in a while. And it seems to, keep having this same pattern of basically flatlining, right? Not really having much movement, inanimate, and then getting this big push. So usually when we look at a token like this and you see this repeat again and again and again and again, then most of the times you can make the assumption, okay, then it's probably going to happen at least 1 more time. I mean, it's happened once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. So it's likely going to happen again. Now, this is an all-time low, right? Look at this entire chart. It's an all-time low, and the token has a history of spiking up again eventually. So, well, that would mean that it could be an interesting moment to buy into it. However, again, that is just speculation. A more better example is if you look at a smaller Launchpad, sometimes you see little to no volume. People are not trading the token. Or, for instance, the owners of the token are largely whales and they impact the price significantly. And those are all things to take into account. Hey, am I going to get into this Launchpad, right? How is the token behaving? Is it a stable token? Is it a high risk, high reward token? Am I going to want to hold this token for a long time? Do I want to lock up the token, right? And over here, well, I mean, you can make your own judgment on it, but it seems like a more safer token. Now, we're going to look at some other Launchpads today that have violently different token paths. So I think it will be great for comparison later down the line. And yeah, I mean, overall, that was almost the last metric. And then usually we look at the white paper. Now, I'm not going to go over white papers. We did that many times in Launchpad school before. So just click over to one of the white paper videos that we've done. There you can find all about it. But a white paper is, of course, incredibly important. It usually contains the tokenomics. It includes the roadmap. It includes basically everything. So you're going to want to see a good white paper. And if you don't have a good white paper, it's definitely a red flag, but it's not the biggest one. Some projects just don't know how to make good white papers and they're still successful. Don't ask me how, but if a project has a horrible team with bad intent, then it will never work. You know what I mean? So from the 5 metrics that we discussed today, there are very important ones, and then there are important ones. So keep that in mind as well. The quantity, how many projects does a Launchpad push out every month, in my opinion, is not even that relevant, because at the end of the day, when I'm investing in a Launchpad, I'm looking for quality. And if you bring me one quality project every single month, that's fine. I don't mind. I'd rather have that than having 5 projects every month and all of them sucky, right? Then it's worthless. So we have seen Launchpads with low quantity still performing very well. So why then is it a metric? Well, again, it's a metric because it's important to a certain extent. That's why I also said it together with quality, right? If you have low quantity, low quality, run away. If you have high quality, right, the projects are absolutely fantastic and amazing, but you have low quantity, then the quantity metric doesn't really matter that much. All right, enough about Poker Bridge. Let's push it over to another Launchpad. Let's look at Seedify for a bit. All right, let me push, there we go. So Seedify is a completely different beast. And of course, it's a little bit salty to look at Seedify because we all know Seedify, so we know how we review it, but it is still good to quickly go over it and use it as a dummy to see, how we're going to do this with in the wild when we're seeing a new Launchpad. And new Launchpads, oh boy, they're coming, right? They're always coming, right? In the bear run, people got to be pretty crazy to start a Launchpad. It happens not that often though. Bull run, people start Launchpads like it's mating season. They go crazy wild on it, and you're going to be reviewing a Launchpad every single day, just like me. So you really want to get this this thing. You want to be able to do it in your sleep, sort of speaking. Now, Seedify, going a bit off topic here, by the way, has been very busy with the NFT Launchpad. Look at this. This is new. It wasn't there yet when I looked at Seedify the other day. Look at this. All of this is new, coming soon. They actually have some projects in the pipeline. Now, we talked about it last Launchpad School, right? Launchpads are bleeding, so they're pushing over their NFT Launchpad in the hopes that that might do better. I think it's an interesting decision though, because if anything, Launchpad suffered a lot this bear run, but my God, did NFTs suffer? Right, their price went down, way down, and the volume of trading in NFTs went down as well. So I don't understand the decision. Hey, my Launchpad is not doing so hot, so I'm just going to create an NFT Launchpad. It just seems like double trouble to me. But Seedify has been investing in it heavily. So, okay, we're not reviewing NFT Launchpads though. We could maybe next Launchpad School. But okay, right. So quantity, again, first metric, we get it right off the list. There's a lot in the pipeline for Seedify, all of them to be announced. Now, like I said before, I hate that because it gives the impression like there's a lot coming up, but really it could be years before these guys actually go for sale. Haunted Space, I covered this one. It doesn't look like Haunted Space will have its token sale anytime soon. So in the pipeline, kind of, but you got to give them credit. There's a lot waiting on Seedify. It's a bear market. So yeah, I would give them their little cross. Quantity is being, it's being done, right? There's enough. As for the quality, again, I went over this again also in my review video, but the quality on Seedify is just higher. Right? And makes sense. I mean, you're paying more to get into this Launchpad, so it makes sense that you're going to be getting better results. Amazi is the best, the best example here. I mean, these are not normal returns in a bear market, and these are definitely not returns that you're getting anywhere else other than Seedify or DAO Maker, right? These are Launchpads that are very good in doing their due diligence. And overall, I haven't seen, now please correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any tier 3 Launchpad getting these types of returns during the bear market. I mean, you just don't see that often. And again, Amazi it's a bit of a unicorn, right? We're going to see that in a bit if we look at the other completed pools, right? Now I do have to check when this was, because I'm saying it was in the bear market, but we gotta have to check the date just to be 100% sure. If they put the date in here to begin with, where the hell did they put that? Wait, are we not getting a date, or am I blind? Assets type, token price, max allocation minimum, token distribution, total supply, address, decimal symbol, and name. Oh, here, date, UTC, but no, nothing. I don't see date. Let me know, guys. What do you guys think? Quickly open the chat. Colin abandoned you. Sorry for being late. Yeah, Colin abandoned me. Now we're doing a solo Launchpad school. Thanks for joining, Max Rimo. I think that's the right pronunciation. Or Rimo. Not sure. Welcome. We are doing a how to detect good Launchpads, how to review a Launchpad. Lesson 10. So it's a bit of an anniversary, right? So Colin is getting ready. Romantic night. No, just kidding. Overall, though, I mean, Amazi, it's an amazing project, right? Very good returns. And, I feel like one of these projects, one of these gold mine projects is already worth 5 garbage projects, right? Again, if you have an allocation, you can choose whether you want to participate or not, right? So you can click on the project, you can see, hey, it sucks, and then just decide not to push your money into it. So really, it is not necessarily about how many garbage projects are there in a Launchpad. It's more like how many gems are there in a project. If you are an experienced investor and you're able to vet the projects correctly, you're gonna want to look for a Launchpad that just provides, and you will just be able to pick out what the best ones are. Right? Now, that's my personal thinking. There's also people that just only and exclusively get into Launchpads that only provide good projects. But it doesn't work like that, because even though Maker, even Seedify, in a bear market, you're going to have bad projects. It happens. That's how it goes. So, no, I think it's good that Seedify just posts a lot, right? And it's okay that not all projects do good. I mean, I think Menzi did not have the best of launches. We can actually go and check that out. Menzi, yeah. Let's check this one out. Yeah, this one didn't do so hot. Look at this. So this had a 4x on the all-time high and a 0.57 ROI on average, minus 42x. Big raise, of course, Seedify 550K. Looking at the details, 15% at TGE. So yeah, I mean, you just made even a 1 month clip. So you just made a deficit. You lost money there. And at the end of the day, if I'm looking for a Launchpad, like I said before, I'm looking at a Launchpad that has gems. And if the gems are covered in mud and bad projects, that's okay, because you should be able to look at a project and be like, okay, this is probably not going to do so hot because the white paper sucks, the tokenomics are not making sense, whatever, right? So I think, I think that term is the best, right? Muddy gems. And Seedify is really good at that, right? You will find, even in this bear market, you will find these gems covered by mud, right? Bad projects, but there's good projects as well. And in Polkabridge, for instance, just doing a little bit of research, right? Not even going over every single project, but I'm missing that. I'm missing those high returns, solid projects. It's like they're not there. Almost every single project just has this negative, bad outlook, and they have all of these success stories, but let's face it, mostly from former boom runs, not really the bear. So that's what I like about Seedify, and that's kind of my approach when I look at a Launchpad, right? Is there an opportunity here? Not necessarily have they always had a completely clean track record. Now, again, after you've done that, you go over the rest of your metrics, right? You grab your little list, you grab your little pen, you go over everything, the community, right? You move over to their Twitter. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with the whole process again, but right, you see, oh, hey, big community. Wow, so many people. You just go like that, right? And it could get a bit monotonous, right? If you do that with a lot of Launchpads, especially the tinier ones. But usually what I notice when I do my reviews is that I go over maybe 3 metrics and I already have my judgment, right? Usually when I look at a smaller Launchpad, for instance, let's say they don't launch any projects right now, the projects that they have launched were garbage, then I already have my judgment ready. And all the rest is just to make sure. Does your white paper suck? Oh, it does. Well, I mean, then you're just confirming what I already thought. Okay, so that is basically how I personally go about this. Now, if you guys have another tactic or another list or things to add to the list, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions, really. This is my personal list, though. Of course, other things to take into account, the tiers, right? What's the price? How much are you going to have to pay? There are Launchpads that are performing very well, but are very expensive. So is it something you can get into? Are you financially capable or in a right place to participate in that? Yes or no? Those are also things to take into account. Now, why did I decide to spend 37 minutes talking about how to review a Launchpad? Well, you can also watch my videos. No, just kidding. Well, I think because basically to end off this AMA, I think because I want to, me personally, get ready for this upcoming bull. And I think that, we're reviewing these Launchpads right now, but it's only the beginning. There's going to be a lot of Launchpads popping up, either because they died and they come back, or just completely brand new Launchpads that are going to be up and running in the next bull run, trying to utilize the hype and the effectiveness of Launchpads during a very good market. It's going to be a lot of those, and finding the ones that have potential early. That's really where I want to focus on personally, and I want to to take you guys with me on that. See what we can do. Let's see. How much is Seedify top right now? Top tier. Alert. DigitsPad. Alert. Well, I think quite a lot, actually. I haven't checked, actually. Let's look at the tiered system then. Updated tiered system. Let's see, from when was this? This is from August 29, 2021. Oh, yeah. Well, and it's not very updated. I guess it's been the same for a while. Tier 9, 325 pool weight. Let's see here. It doesn't... does this mean 325 Seedify tokens? I don't think so. Maybe it does. Let's go over to Seedify CoinMarketCap first. Seedify. Yeah, DigitsPad. Are we excited, boys? Of course I am. Ah, it said below. Really? Did I not see it? Let me go back. Ah, yeah. There you go. Okay, cool. Yeah. It said below. Wow, 200K. Man, yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. I mean, imagine getting into that last October 2021 or September. Man, I mean, I guess the price was high. I have to double check real quick. I mean, every price was high back in yeah, there you go. Look at this. $15. Now it's $2. So that's 4 times as expensive. Man. Let's see the chat. 1.6 mil. Dude, seriously, I would never. I mean, respect for those who do, but to be completely honest with you, 1.6 million in a Launchpad, I don't know about that, man. I mean, Launchpads always fluctuate in value, right? So basically get allocation, use it while it's profitable, and get the hell out, because these prices on Launchpads, they always go up and down. Look at this, $15 all the way to $2. You don't want to have your 1.6 million decrease by 80%. I would never, ever do that personally. Why would you do that when you can spend 0.13 ETH and get it? I mean, yeah, true. And I think that's the beauty of the NFT system, right? Get one NFT. This is regarding the DigitsPad for everyone over on YouTube who cannot see the chat. But yeah, getting one NFT to generate tokens for you to participate in DigitsPad and the rest of the ecosystem, it's just much nicer for investors, and it paves the way, I think, for future projects to start doing the same thing. Because right now, there's no Launchpad that needs an NFT. They don't do it. And I've wondered for a while, like, why not? It's better for the investors. Like you say, it's more accessible. And it's just better overall. So I can definitely see that being adopted more mainstream in the future. I think Digits is doing it, and I think that's only just the start. And I'm very happy that they do it. I mean, the agent NFT has so much utility, and they keep building utility into it, which is what I like about it, right? We recently got to announce the content vault, which is just another thing, right? Just the content vault is not really anything interesting, right? It's nice, but you're not going to buy an NFT for a content vault. But it's just the whole stack together that makes it interesting. And Launchpads don't really do that. They don't add more utility to their platform. You know what I mean? They don't have, yeah, they have staking or farming, whatever, dude. But yeah, so I think that utility is very important. I can see definitely being put into more mainstream purposes, right? The NFT system. For now, though, Launchpads just don't work like that overall. DigitPad does, right? So that's cool. But for now, we're going to have to deal with the way that things just are right now. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm definitely interested on how this will develop overall. 1.6 million is a lot of money. Not everyone has it. That is true. That is true. In fact, I want to see now. I'm curious. I just got really curious all of a sudden. How many people actually got that tier right now? I just have to know. Gotta know. So these are all contracted. Wait, how much was it? 200K? Actually, a bunch of people have it. 1, 2, 3. That's a contract. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Some 9 people or so. These are some independent wallets as well. Maybe a dozen, right? That have that top tier, but no one has 1.2 mil. I mean, of course not. The value is too low to have 1.2 mil. But yeah, geez, interesting to see. I think DAO Maker is even worse. I think I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not sure, but yeah, very unaccessible. Which, of course, to end really the video off is another thing to keep into account, right? Is a Launchpad available to you? The price ranges in Launchpads are insane, right? We have Launchpads going from $1 Communitas all the way to Seedify having the highest tier, 200K. Insane differences, right? So even if you found your dream Launchpad, you got to think about, is this available for me? Because Seedify, yes, you have lower tiers, but do you really want to get into a lower tier? How did that saying go again? Like, better the king of a small country than, no, it wasn't like that. But you rather want a high allocation in a smaller Launchpad than a small allocation in a bigger Launchpad, because you're just not going to get anything out of this. I mean, look at this, lottery based 1.2 pool. Yeah, no, thank you. That's just almost irrelevant, I would say, right? I think most of these are lottery. No, only the first one is lottery, right? If tier 2 is okay, you can get tier 2. You have a 2 pool weight. You have a guaranteed allocation. I mean, that stuff is solid, right? You can go for that. You can actually, and it's 1,000 Seedify. So that's still quite pricey, but it's affordable, respectively. So yeah. Anyways, enough rambling on. Thank you guys for joining in again today. Let me stop the share real quick. So next week, Colin's going to be back. Or at least that's the point, right? So we're going to be diving into some more detailed topics again. We're going to revisit vesting schedules, and we're going to revisit tokenomics. And these are going to be quite challenging, right? This was a bit more of a lighthearted Launchpad school, right? How to review a Launchpad and stuff like that. So we're going to get back into the numbers, into the digits. Now, I got to go do my homework because I'm going to get absolutely destroyed if I don't know all of the formulas of calculating a whatever. So I hope you guys had a great Launchpad school. Have a good day, everybody. And I will see you all in the next AMA Thursday. See you later. Bye-bye, everybody.